And we're live, or somewhat. You know what it is, people. Arsenal news show / reaction show. Please make sure you're smashing the like button now. Before we get into this, Vlahovic and Sesko and Tierney and Kivior and Cunha and this one and that one, you would have seen Arsenal have all but qualified for the next round of the Champions League, following us winning 3-0 against Zagreb. As you can see here, people, we've only lost once, which was away to Inter Milan. It's been a near perfect kind of, well, it has at this moment been perfect from us. One of the best performances over a long period of time we've put in any of the competitions we've technically been in. Definitely better than the League Cup at this moment in time. Definitely for me, even though we're second in the Premier League, better than what we are now. I think we were, last time I checked, we was third in the Champions League. So second in the Premier League, third in the Champions League. It does show the progress, but we're still frustrated. It just shows how close but far we are from achieving something. Now, again, check out my reaction. Just a quick overview of my thoughts on the game. I'm happy to see 4 shots on target and we scored 3 goals. I actually feel, you see the way the game went for us, people. I feel, as silly as it is, of course you would want every game to go like that, right? You'd want every game because we won, we kept a clean sheet, there was goals, etc. And I think it's more of a European thing because, with the exception to a degree of Inter, which was more the case with us, I'd say with Atalanta, you get more space. It's like Mikel Arteta and Arsenal. Our game is more of a European model, which we're playing in England, so you could see the issues. I feel that's how we would have liked a game to go, in that we've dominated possession. Obviously, Mikel Arteta has stifled whatever Zagreb are doing. We get some chances, and our players were quite clinical. What a goal that was from Declan Rice. Lovely assist from Kai Havertz. Lovely to see he scored as well. Martinelli, good performance as well. And out of all of them, I think Odegaard needed a goal the most. So happy to see different goal scorers get the win, all but confirm the trip to the next round. Happy lad, if I'm honest with you. Happy lad, if I'm honest with you. I do think there was elements of complacency. There was a moment they all did well, but I think Raya got caught playing a dodgy pass, Timber got caught in possession, and Kivior got caught in possession. So naturally, I think there was complacency. But yeah, man, apparently Declan Rice's goal after 104 seconds is Arsenal's quickest goal in the Champions League since November 2014, when Sanogo scored after 72 seconds against Dortmund. Shout out Sanogo, man. You know, big up yourself for that semi-final in the FA Cup, and shout out to you for that. I didn't even know I couldn't even remember him bagging it against such. Imagine that. That's like 11 years ago. It's crazy, isn't it? It is what it is. And I believe that's also Declan Rice's first goal in the Champions League as well. On that, Kai Havertz has scored a goal in each of his last 3 Champions League matches, people. Sporting, Monaco and Zagreb. Keep doing what you're doing. We're going to get into this in a second. But yeah, quick overview. Obviously, Mikel Arteta said the job is almost done. He made a little joke as well post-game about he's going to speak to Opta because they're saying it's almost done. We're doing what needs to be done, man. Tonight's win, or yesterday's win, completed 4 wins from 4 home games in the league phase. We beat PSG, Dortmund, and the man said Dortmund, the next, apologies, Dynamo and Monaco. So that's what you want to see. That's the consistency you want to see us in the domestic game as well. Of course, Mikel Arteta is going to say he's happy. We obviously had big chances and we didn't necessarily score. Second half, I do agree we looked a bit leggy and lost a bit of control, as he alluded to. But overall, no complaints from me. Odegaard said he's relieved to be back on the score sheet, which is lovely to see, because Odegaard, we need everyone to pull their weight in terms of goal scoring. Have we missed anything with Mikel Arteta? On whether we've mathematically qualified, I haven't had as much time as you probably, so we're struggling with that. I know that we're in a really, really good position. Arteta, that's another case of the gaffer's line, you know damn well, but I hear it. A lot of things have to happen, so still we have to do our job. We will go to Girona and try to win the game, and we'll have more sense. On the warm weather training, I'm going to ask Opta to speak to the travel agents. I think that's a better idea. No, it's really good. We made certain changes for freshness to give minutes to certain players that fully deserve them. We had some setbacks as well yesterday with the players that we could use tonight. 3 of them that were under patrol and they were on the bench but not ready to be used. So it's good that we won and we'll enjoy it, and let's go. And big up, obviously, Ethan for getting back fit. Calafiori the same. Hope that continues. And unfortunately, Lewis Skelly's injured. On Declan Rice's fitness, he had another niggle and the demands of the game. He's played so much football in the last 2 years. And as well, on top of that, we've moved him from one position to another. So all the factors, but the good thing with Declan is he's so consistent, so reliable. He's always there, and we create those sparks, those moments in the opposition box. It's a great thing to have. And yeah, he bigged him up. Obviously, big up Declan Rice, man. We need goals from anywhere. On Lewis Skelly, which I would say is the one dampener on stuff, I'm not sure he judged it in the game. He judged it What does that mean? He judged it in the game against Villa and thought it was okay, and he finished the game, and the next day it wasn't bad. And then yesterday he wasn't feeling right, so he started the session and he wasn't feeling good. So we need some more tests tomorrow. Hopefully it's nothing, but the games are coming very fast. There you said it, Lewis Skelly. We need you, bro. Please get fit. We need you against Wolves away from home. We need you against Girona as well. To be fair, we'll probably make some rest there. But we've got City coming up. We've got tough games, man. It's lovely to obviously have Ethan back. It's great to have him. He's been training really well the last few days. He's adapting to the position. And you can tell straight away the threat that he generates, how he can mix people on the ball, and he can be put into those areas as well. So really good to have him back. We need options. We need threat. We need competition there. So it's great to have him. On the warm weather training, if we earn the right to do that, it'd be great because it's been a super busy schedule with a lot of demands, with things that happened, even more demands, especially on the players. So if we can achieve that, it'd be great. What did you lot make as well of the game, of some of the points we're saying, of Lewis Skelly's injury? Let me know all of your thoughts. And big up Dynamo Zagreb and their gaffer, Fabio Cannavaro, people. Big up Trossard because he's now played 100 times for this football club. Big him up, people. Exactly 2 years to the day after his debut as well. Time flies, innit? For some reason, I still remember Trossard in the super sub era, really and truly. He's been a good player, and arguably, maybe I'm wrong here, where you look at Mikel Arteta's attacking signings, I know there's been a lot, but there hasn't been any to scream and shout about. Who would you lot say has been the best one specifically that Mikel Arteta has signed? Surely, in terms of value for money and the consistency in that period, surely it's got to be Trossard. For me, I don't think it's Gabriel Jesus. Those first 6 months were amazing. I think Kai's done okay. And again, Kai Havertz is a different situation. But ironically, you could say that, but that weren't meant to be a striker. I'm talking about the front three as well, because some could easily say, oh, God, let me know your thoughts and smash and subscribe, people. Smash like buttons. Now, I don't know if this makes any sense. I don't know if I believe this. Let me know if you lot genuinely believe in Arsenal's interest in Vlahovic. I think there was once previous interest. He probably has been considered. I mean, his contract is running down. We were previously linked with him before. We need a striker. It depends what you deem is doable, but I would reckon, Vlahovic, it seems like Juventus are open to selling you. Osman, if you wanted to do that, based on how they've made that loan spell in Turkey, if someone wanted to get involved, they could. Sesko, these guys are probably more difficult to obtain than the others. So I would take this with a pinch of salt, and with the greatest of respect to Steve K and football transfers. I know we like to talk about a lot of transfer news that's posted on this website, but I don't think it. Be honest, I haven't seen you lot right at all, and I think you lot could be wasting it because there's no way of proving this at all, unless you know Vlahovic, anyone at Arsenal. There's no way of proving this. Nonetheless, though, Arsenal's talks to sign Vlahovic this month have broken down, Football Transfers understands. Football Transfers reported earlier this month that Arsenal made a first bid for the Juventus striker, but had their loan offer rejected by the Serie A giants. Unless it's a loan with a not option, obligation to buy, so it is basically a permanent transfer. Why would Juventus want to do that? It don't make sense because they'll be left short-handed, and they're going to have to sell him in the summer if they can't let him go now, and they're probably more open to that. Also, Juventus had continued talks since then, with Juventus making it clear they would only sell Vlahovic for a cash sum. I mean, you lot were linked with Kivior. Could you have gone with that? Arsenal plan to sign a new striker this month due to their goal scoring woes this season, as well as the recent ACL suffered by Gabriel Jesus. There are a number of potential targets, with Wolves' Cunha considered the most likely now, as reported by Football Transfers on Tuesday. We're going to get on to Cunha, but what do you lot think is a good fee for Cunha? Because you're seeing anything from 60 down to 70, 75, 80. Would you lot do that? Keeping up the task with Vlahovic. Any chance of Vlahovic ending up at the Emirates now seems unlikely. This is despite a report in Calcio Mercato, which states that the Italian giants are cutting their asking price to interested parties to just 40 million euros for the Serbian, who I believe has the most expensive contract at the moment in Italy, Serie A, and definitely at Juventus. Why would you wouldn't, whether you believe that you should or shouldn't be on that wage, if you sign for Arsenal, Chelsea have been linked with him, any Premier League club, or you could extend that to some of the, like Juventus, the bigger European teams. Why on God's green earth are you going to take a wage cut? For what it's worth, Juventus open to sell Vlahovic. Juventus are open to offloading Vlahovic this month, but will only do so if it's an outright sell or at the very least a loan with an obligation to buy. He has a contract until 2026. Renewal talks are not going well. He's the highest paid player in Serie A on 12 million euros a year. Juventus are not willing to continue paying him that much given his underperformed performances on the pitch and the club's new policy of lowering the wage ceiling. Yeah. And it says if a new contract can't be agreed soon, which seems unlikely, Juventus will have no option but to sell Vlahovic in one of the two transfer windows in 2025 to avoid losing him on a free transfer. Allegedly, Mikel Arteta has been a long-term fan of the 24-year-old who's still only 24. Fair play. Having failed to sign him in January 2022 when he left Fiorentina for Juventus for 80 million euros. So it's like Juventus caught the short end of the stick, really, if I'm honest with you. His agent played a blinder, getting him on those wages. Fiorentina probably can't believe in hindsight the money they got, and it hasn't worked out. Now, Vlahovic was on everybody's lips, but they'll have to see. I'm not going to give time to this, but apparently Arsenal are extremely likely to sign Zubimendi with the deal already as good as done, according to report. That's great. We saw Milk Bell, Romano, Ornstein all speak about that. I'm sure it is, but until I see him holding a shirt, saying I used to watch Cesc Fabregas because he's 25. I used to watch Cesc Fabregas lying to me. I used to watch Henry and Bergkamp and these things. I'm not believing any of it, people. But we have seen that. We have heard we're prepared to trigger his release clause. We've also simultaneously heard we're prepared to pay a bit more just so we can stagger the payments out a bit. But big up Zubimendi. It don't really make sense focusing on you because summer is one thing. 2025-26 season is one thing. You have to deal with right now. Apparently, journalist James Baines has now confirmed that the deal is extremely likely to happen and that it really just a case of Arsenal deciding when to put the money on the table. Zubimendi is extremely likely. It's not done yet. Of course, they have to pay the release clause, but messages have come from Arteta and Arsenal's side for a very long time, convincing Zubimendi, who rejected the chance to go to Liverpool and has rejected the chance to go elsewhere in the Premier League when it's been put to him in the past. This is the time to move and this is the club to move to. So they have to go and pay the release clause. And my expectation is that they'll either do it or actually more likely will go a little bit over the release clause just to sweeten the payment terms. Bring Olabi, the sporting director. If I'm honest, I think we need an experienced one. And big up James Baines. But based off the basis of, unlike the front three, what I call them, the holy trio of Sammy Mokbel, David Ornstein, Fabrizio Romano, them man all simultaneously said about Zubimendi. So if they said what you said there, I'll take it with a bit more enthusiasm. You weren't saying that, so it's easy for you to come out and say these things. You wasn't saying that at the start, really and truly. You weren't really the guy. I'm sure you got your sources. Technically, I've had him on my channel as well, so big him up. It's not a diss. It's just everybody's adding their own spin now on everything, man. I don't know if I should speak about this because some of you look, Cronkers, get the money out. Smash the like button, people. Arsenal moved up to 7th place in the Delight. They're the money men, innit? Football Money League report with revenues of 716.5 million euros, which is 716.5 million euros versus 532.6 million euros in 2022-23. So we're making more money. Sporting results played a key role in the club's financial dynamics. 35%, whatever this means, but the total was 716.5 million. Match day revenue accounts for 153.4 million. Broadcasting is 305.4 million. Commercial is 257.8 million. Fair enough, really. But I guess qualifying in the Champions League, the TV rights, all of this stuff, it all plays a part. Hopefully some of that can trickle down and filter through to transfers, and even extending the stadium. We want to expand the Emirates. How much we can expand, I don't know. Surely you can only build up to a certain point. But yeah, man, we're a bit innovative in that regards, though, when you deep it. I know other new stadiums have been built / are being built, but we were ahead of the curve, innit? We saw the thing like, at some point, you're going to need to get a new stadium. Chelsea are always linked with a new stadium. Spurs have obviously gone to a new stadium. Everton are going to go to one. I'm sure Barcelona and Real Madrid have gone to one. We knew that we'd have to leave Highbury. I know we've been here for a number of years now, so I'm exaggerating. But for me, I don't feel the Emirates is going to feel like home for me until I see a Premier League. Or what I would love is the Champions League because, Glazides, wherever you are, I hope you're doing healthy. But you was telling me by Munich level, Champions League, we want to do this and that. Last time we got to a final, we weren't even like the Emirates weren't even open. Technically, it was opening. It would have been lovely. You know what? I think that changes the trajectory of the club. You know, I think if we win the Champions League, I think if we won the Champions League in '06, I think if David Dean stays, and I think if certain things where the ownership of this football club went and the austerity we went through, I think we're in a different place. But it just all ifs and buts. We could have been this. It could have been worse. In it, who knows, people. Now the Sesko stuff, I'm more than happy to entertain it. Let me know you lot's thoughts on Sesko and anything we discuss, people. But it's long now, man. Apparently, Alex Crook, who I believe works for Talksport, said Arsenal have made a tentative inquiry for Sesko, but the deal's not easy as RBL are chasing Champions League qualification. No bid for Cunha at this stage. Moving on from that, Ben Jacobs did say Arsenal have made recent contact with Leipzig over Benjamin Sesko, who remains a strong 2025 target. Arsenal reigniting their 2024 interest. Mid-season moves still complicated, even with Leipzig knocked out of the Champions League. Sesko's agent has made it clear no loan in Jan. Pardon me. Now, the loan thing is worse. I don't think Arsenal are stupid enough to be going and talking to Sesko, or even if that we went over the Vlahovic thing, right, and saying, "Yo, let's get him on loan." Again, loans with obligations. I'm sure we've tried that. I'm sure we're open to loans of players that have a foot out the door, but it would be stupid. That for me, generally, I think it'd be stupid because I've said the same things in many a video. I'm not gonna go over it, but for me, I think it'd be stupid to go away with that, around with that. Sesko and Gyökeres also bagged him. Big up you lot, that's part of my watch along, yeah. Remember when I told you, look, football's fixed. When you lot were commenting, Sesko scored, Gyökeres scored. I said, all right, cool. I know how football's weird. Kai Havertz is definitely gonna bag. And it makes me, I'm being stupid, but I've got two questions for you. Would you take Isaac? We'd all take Isaac. Would you take Sesko? Would you take Gyökeres? Which one do you think is better? And I would say, do we need a striker where Kai Havertz has reminded you? Do I believe what I just said? I don't know. Of course, don't kill me. I've got to play devil's advocate. This is a community. I need you lots of thoughts, people. Anywho, leave a like. Arsenal retain interest in Sesko, but a deal looks increasingly unlikely this month. Leipzig are adamant that the player is not for sale, and Arsenal respected the German club's position this month. That's what Sammy Moltbell has said. I guess you have to kind of poke the bear, but not poke the bear. Keep those good relations, quote unquote. But at the end of the day, and you could say you don't want to damage your relation with Leipzig. Can I hear it? Again, it's the same. It's the same thing for life. Or I'm a content creator. If I like someone or somebody likes me, and we've got a good understanding, you're more likely to do content. Where you might not like someone and they might not like you, so you might not do it. Or you could say the same with musicians and things like that. My point is, I do think Arsenal fans get into this trap of what if the other club doesn't like us? And I hear it, but at the end of the day, if we've got money, they're still going to get it done. They're still going to get it done. Like if you're a YouTuber and you've got some motion and people don't like you, they're still going to want you on the platform, or a musician or whatever to a degree. I take in what Sammy Moltbell has said a lot more than Ben Jacobs, respectfully, because I think Sammy Moltbell's CV looks a bit more certain, but everybody's reiterating the same kind of things. Moltbell has also said again, Leipzig are adamant he won't be sold. We've seen what his manager has said. People were respecting the stance. There are currently no formal club-to-club discussions over Sesko, and it now remains to be seen whether that changes. Now, things can change, but that just tells me that this is a summer thing, or maybe we've spoken to the agent just to test the waters, and indirectly Sesko has said, are you actually on leaving? If he is, then there might be some encouragement to make a bid. If he said, you know what, I want to continue the season in which he said I want to stay at Leipzig last year, it's a non-starter, which is, I would love a striker. I'd love a winger and a striker. I said it in the summer. I'm going to say it during next summer if we don't change, and I'm going to say it now. I do think, with the exception of a couple players, it's probably more feasible to expect a versatile kind of wide man, if that makes sense, then a forward, a number 9. If it's not someone like Sesko, which the club clearly like, I don't think the club would get Vlahovic in an ideal world, maybe on loan actually, but get Vlahovic, buy Vlahovic, where he's not your, whether you're going to get Isaac or not, or Sesko or not, or whether you're able to, they're the more top done. So you at least want to go and try. I know Arsenal fans, it's scary talking about trying, and there's a lot of buzzwords that trigger our PTSD, right? But Yeah, man. I mean, John Cross has said Arsenal willing to spend big on striker transfer now after Benjamin Sesko green light. So everybody's saying different things. Arsenal are willing to do a big deal in January, but only if they can land a primary target. They've been looking at Sesko, who will be allowed to move in the summer with Arsenal in pole position. The Gunners will see if they can tempt Leipzig into a deal now to boost the rest of the campaign with a striker. I mean, dot I's and cross T's for the Zubimendis, for the Seskos. Get someone in now, man. Apparently, there's a gentleman's agreement of around 60 odd million quid to bring in people. Apparently, Arteta has also spelled out that the club are in the market, and there's been dialogue with the hierarchy, including Josh Kroenke, who's apparently was at the North London derby. Apparently, he's flown back to America and then come back now. I don't know about any of that. Leipzig have had a disastrous Champions League campaign. They cannot qualify after six defeats and are still well placed in the Bundesliga. Arsenal wanted Sesko last summer, but the Slovenian decided to stay for one more year rather than share duties with Kai Havertz, who just enjoyed an outstanding season. I mean, he shared it with Openda, and he was in and out the side last year. Arsenal have remained in touch and are on the case, and are believed to be front runners despite growing interest in the striker. It still remains whether Leipzig are willing to sell, but a bigger offer may tempt them, and there's a feeling that Arsenal are ready to do business. But they're reluctant to compromise and rush into a deal now and then end up with a player who will not ultimately push their squad to the next level. Whether he can or can't, surely we're past the point of Arsenal believing that specifically for Sesko. You've wanted him. So there's a lot of things being said, and it wouldn't be Arsenal transfer news if they did not mention Nico Williams. Arsenal are also keen to strengthen their wide options, but that may have to wait until the summer. Nico Williams is not available in January and wants a pay deal in excess of 300 grand a week. I'm not saying all of these guys will be the answer, but if you go and get me Zubimendi, you go and get Sesko, two guys that you want, you go and get Nico Williams, another one that's been linked, I think we're doing all right. I would be really happy with that. I would, obviously the players that are good at the club that we want to keep, make them better, improve. Arteta, there's a lot you can do from a training ground or tactics perspective. Obviously, flush a couple of players out because realistically, Zubimendi is going to be on big wages. Sesko's going to be on decent wages. Who else did I say? Nico Williams would be on big wages. You've got to sort out Saliba, Saka, and Gabriel's contracts and anybody else's. Lewis Skelly and Ethan's are not going to break the bank, but with FFP and PSR, you've got to, pattern that kind of stuff correct. With her Trossard's in for a new deal, but that could also be spent with, Partey. Obviously, Kai Havertz is on the wage bill as well, on pretty wages. Partey's probably leaving. That's 200 plus grand a week gone. Zinni's probably on like 100 odd. That's gone. Jorginho's probably on something around 70, 80 maybe. That's gone. Tierney's on 100k apparently. That's gone. Reece Nelson, you'd imagine apparently he's on 100 bags. That's gone. If Kivior and these kind of ones move on, then it gives you more space to play around with. And there's a lot for us when you deep it, people. There's a lot to do. We've got a good, stable foundation and a core, but there's actually a lot to do on and off the field for this season to salvage it, obviously. And that's what I care about the most. And also next year. But I don't know, man. Mate, it's too much for me. We've been urged to forget about signing Sesko in the January transfer market. Again, apparently Isaac is high on our wanted list, but if you ain't got 150 million, forget it. We've laid the groundwork on Sesko before. I mean, Marco Royce said after beating Sporting Lisbon that it remains the case that they don't want to sell the guy. In fact, he said, yes, that's definitely still the case. Apparently, we also retain an interest in Cunha and face competition from Chelsea, Tottenham Hotspur, Nottingham Forest. Man United have been linked and a couple of other clubs as well, people. So we'll have to see exactly on the Cunha front where we're going to go with that, man. Apparently, Juventus have offered Chelsea the opportunity to sign Douglas Luiz, who is also on the radar for both Manchester City and Arsenal. Now, I don't believe that. I think, obviously, we did try to get him once upon a time. I wouldn't say no to a loan for Douglas Luiz. I watch Juventus and Italian football here and there. I must admit, he does look a shadow of his former self. And one of my best friends is a Juventus fan. He can't believe this guy's meaty. I can't lie. Juventus got this black hue on the wings. He looks all right, Like I need to do my homework, but he looks all right. It could be all right, but I'm not saying no to Douglas Luiz. But I don't think we're going to do that. You've got Jorginho for at least a year. You've got Rice playing in that 8. You've got Partey there. Who else? Moreno is still there. There's still, and I think for me as well, when we're talking about midfield options, You've got to remember, Kai Havertz is a candidate to play there, and Arteta will get him in the side. It don't make sense. Our priorities this January has to be either a striker or a winger or both. And I'm not against Douglas Luiz or addressing midfield now. As I said, I'm happy if we side Zubimendi, if and when. But we're still in and amongst this season. It don't make sense. It don't make sense. Of course, we'd have more bodies and competition, and he's Premier League proven. And I'm sure. I might be making this up, but I'm sure he scored directly from a corner against us. But I don't believe that. I mean, I don't think we're signing Paul Pogba, but humor me, people. Paul Pogba is considering several offers from teams inside Europe's top 5 leagues, but an agreement on a deal is not imminent. Could we be in for him? Of course not, but it is what it is. Nottingham Forest are apparently preparing a club record bid, possibly in the region of 60 million, to try and lure Cunha away from Wolves. Jorginho makes decision after receiving 8.5 million offer to leave Arsenal. Apparently, Jorginho has turned down an offer from Flamengo, and talks over a proposed move have ground to a halt. We all know it's a bit harsh to say Jorginho struggled for regular football. We know he's a squad player. He's played just 6 times. Apparently, he's understood to have grown frustrated with a bit part role in North London. Now, obviously, a player is never going to be happy to not play, but that seems a bit different, because I remember him coming out and saying, like, it's something you deal with as an older player. Like, basically, I'm well aware of the fact that I'm in and out the side. I'm a rotation option. I want to help the young players. We all know he's an extension of the coaching front as well, if I'm honest with you. So who knows? But Palmeiras, Flamengo have been interested. Every now and again, there's Saudi offers. Every now and again, there's also Turkey offers. Apparently, he's rejected a 3-year deal worth 8.5 million or 10 million euros or dollars, whatever. To be fair, though, that's all right, if I'm honest with you. Bearing in mind you're on the wrong side of 30, that's good longevity, people. Apparently, the Gunners have not given up hope of putting pen to paper on another renewal, people, with Arteta keen for the deep line playmaker to extend his stay. I reckon he ends up becoming part of the coaching staff. We know people. We've been linked with Zubimendi before. Arteta did say at the start of January, I don't want to have these conversations now. When asked about Jorginho and Partey, I want to have these discussions much later, because the focus has to be on what we have to do in the season. They can understand the intentions and see what we can do. But it's 2 players that I'm very, very happy with. They are such a value in the squad. I want to keep them as well with the right mind frame, because the most important part of the season is coming now. Now, I don't think he's wrong. And what he's telling us and what he's saying privately, either to the Cronkies or those that handle renewals or the players, is very different. Now, forgive my ignorance, because I think he probably would have said the same thing, people. But what if that was Saka and Saliba? Their contracts are running out and we're there. I'm not saying he would have said everything, but surely he would have said, I want to keep them. Obviously, I'm reaching a bit, but you can get where I'm going with that, people. We've gone over the Lewis Skelly absence. Return soon, my friend. Apparently, David Ornstein has said, we really like Anthony Gordon. I'm sure Liverpool do as well. You need big bread. Like, there's a couple of players I'd take from Newcastle if you could, which is easier said than done. Shout out Newcastle, but you know, I'm having Anthony Gordon. You start on, you're better than what we've got on the left-hand side. Isaac, you're better than what we've got up front, with the greatest of respect to them. Gomares, you lot know I'm a big fan of his. I saw his mistake last weekend. It happens to the best of us. Apparently, people, when speaking about Gordon, Ornstein said they came close to doing something on Anthony Gordon in the past. Again, I don't think he'll be one they would like to lose, but I do hear lots of clubs who have huge admiration for him, even Arsenal among them, like Anthony Gordon. I think Isaac would be the last resort. You do have to remember, though, that there's a bit of a contract situation there with him at Newcastle that doesn't appear to have moved forward. Yeah, but they look on course to get Champions League football. He's at least contracted until 2028, so another 3 years. Naturally, if he keeps doing what he's doing, people are going to be linked with such. You know, PSG and City were linked with Gomares. Gordon was linked with Liverpool. Isaac, whether these guys go or not, linked with everyone. And the same with Saliba, with Real Madrid and all of that. I'm having all of them. But there might be a stage where Newcastle might have to sacrifice one, or they want to leave. But for a Newcastle perspective, I hope I mean, selfishly, I'd rather Arsenal sign Isaac and that, but it'd be nice if Arsenal ain't going to win. And I'm not saying I want Newcastle to win. It'd be nice to see a team hold on to these kind of players and see what they can build around. And credit to Eddie Howe and Newcastle. And unfortunately, like, I do it. I focus on the Gamares, the Isaacs, the this one, that one, and the third. I don't think obviously they're not stars, but the Murphys and all them, Dan Burns, all the other guys that have put in a shift for Newcastle to help them get where they're getting, they're not going to get the plaudits that they deserve, really. Kivio's been linked with a move away. It wouldn't be a transfer news kind of segment if that wasn't the case. Apparently, he been linked with, man. We know he's a backup dancer, unfortunately, at the moment. Atalanta apparently have shown an interest in him. He did get a rare start yesterday. So big him up. Apparently, the Poland international so far made 18 starts in the Premier League, of which 2 are from this season. Big up Kivio, man. I thought you've been watching Saliba a lot. There was a moment before his kind of lapse in concentration. Timber and Ryan did the same. There was a great bit of composure from Kivio when he's had the ball and he's the last man, and there weren't really a margin for a great little. If Saliba did that, we'd all be waffling about it. So yeah, reports have linked Kivio with a move. And apparently Tierney is to sign a pre-contract agreement with Celtic people. And big up Tierney, 27-goal return home. Apparently, Bayern Leverkusen, Sevilla, Juventus were all interested in taking him without a fee in the summer. Apparently, Everton also looked. But home's where the heart is. 6 years after joining Arsenal for 25 million, he's returning home, man. It's a bit harsh to see the way it's ended for Tierney, injured, kind of not even in the side like that. I know he came off the bench. Someone that was once spoke about as being a captain is sad, man. It's absolutely sad, really. Big up Tierney, man. But Celtic's a big club. Home's where the heart is. Go do your thing, man. And if Tierney wasn't injured, he probably would have left in some capacity. I did try to get this one for us people, but I think this is behind the paywall. It kind of focused on Cunha, and it said there's been no talks regarding Cunha. It's behind the paywall. I did try to look, people, because normally I go on this website and we can bypass the paywalls very easily. But okay, which you're acting. This is how technology tries to make you look dirty, because when I was trying to prepare these things, I promise you it wasn't loading. But all right, cool. Smash the like button. You see how I go the extra mile to bring you lot content, people, and then content again and again. So turn on notification bells, leave a comment, smash the like button. YouTube algorithm, right? Off topic. Zaha has gone on loan. That's crazy. But let's just skip to the rag and bones of this, man. Big him up. And some of you off topic would have seen Cunha, like pictures around the Emirates of Cunha when Arsenal played Wolves, like taking pictures with kids and that. That's resurfaced, people. And you know how Arsenal, he's just taking pictures with young fans that are Arsenal fans, actually. Just how it gets, people. But where is this? Much was made of Cunha's body language following Monday's defeat to Chelsea, yada, yada, yada. We've heard that before. To the end, there was a degree of surprise on Monday night when his old manager, Victor Pereira, appeared to question his players' demeanor. I don't like this body language. I want someone as a captain trying to help the team, running, suffering, and fighting all together. But this is something I can understand. Next time, I won't understand. Boy, apparently Cunha's response to social media criticism and accuses he's headed straight for the tunnel after the final whistle were telling. Liar, he posted on his X account as he reacted to online assertions about his attitude. I mean, we haven't really had the internet football stuff since Ainsley Maitland-Niles said, I just want to play for Arsenal. I just want to play them in. Chatting too much. But anyways, with that in mind, you can take an informed guess at how Cunha might feel about Pereira's post-match remarks. Fair enough, man, really. Okay, this is talking about his body language. Again, I don't want to criticize someone before I know them, but this, for a manager or for fans that talk a lot about Arteta, doesn't like difficult characters, and he's got all of this stuff out. This ain't sounding like someone that's going to work at Arsenal. I know Trossard kind of got into it with De Zerbi when he left Brighton, but you get the point. And to be honest with you, they looked 2 years ago, they signed him for 35 million. They're going to make a little profit. 26 goals and 13 assists. I'm just trying to, honestly, people, I just want to see if there's anything, him going to Arsenal. Respectfully to Wolves and Cunha and Pereira, I, as an Arsenal fan, don't give a monkeys at this moment about this little bust-up thing you've had. Respect to Sammy Motbell. There's a lot of things I don't care about. Is there anything to do with Arsenal here, people? Talk about teasing. Not that he intends to let the situation fester. Cunha's got a job to do, starting against Arsenal, ironically, on Saturday. Indeed, there is an inescapable irony that comes with the Gunners' visits to the Molineux this weekend for Cunha. Really? Does it? You must have not been here, Sammy Mokbel, when we was linked with Douglas Luiz and we played at the Emirates. Anywho, there is a degree of interest from Arsenal, though whether they choose to move remains to be seen. A goal or two from Cunha this weekend, and who knows? They've been hurt by their transfer targets already this season, with Isak scoring in both of Newcastle's wins over the Gunners. It's obvious that a transfer to Arsenal would interest a player like Cunha. Arteta has put together one of the most exciting projects in European football, and most players would find such an opportunity hard to turn down. However, Arsenal aren't the only club hovering around the winter deadline. Spurs, Chelsea, Forest, Man United all have varying degrees of interest in the 25-year-old. I'd only rule Spurs out. I don't know if they got the financial means, but Forest, it's an exciting project. Bare Brazilian Dons, he could be linked up with that. It is what it is. Man United is still Man United, serious club. Chelsea is still Chelsea, serious club. Arsenal, serious club. Newcastle haven't been name dropped here, but they have been name dropped before, serious club. Why would you, if you want to sign for Spurs, that's because you just want to be in London and you just want to do skills, have no real expectation to win or do anything serious. I'll always slander Spurs. Wolves have opened talks with Cunha over extending a deal. There's said to be optimism there. Apparently, it's understood a broad agreement over new terms at the Molineux isn't a million miles away. Equally, however, there appears to be no indication yet that Cunha will sign a new deal until the transfer window is closed. So not to shut the door on a January exit. Mind games. Wolves insist he is not for sale and are yet to receive any formal offers for the player. Cunha's contract still has 2 years left to run, so they could sell him in the summer. And Wolves feel they're in a strong position to hold on to their Brazilian, but it remains to be seen if an offer of 60 million upwards tempts the club into reassessing their stance. And you got to remember, they're in a relegation race. So you'd have to see. I'd love Cunha, but it's a bit of a myth. England are to play Senegal at the City Ground. Remember, we was linked with this Tim Stilden guy at West Ham, people. It seems like he's getting criticised for overpaying and doing a madness. Tyler Diblin's a player I'd like. Apparently, he's not ruling out a move away from Southampton. Apparently, they're saying they want 50 million. I mean, don't sign for Spurs. I'll be honest, with the young squad Spurs got and Postecoglou, it kind of makes sense. We retain interest in Benjamin Sesko. The deal's incredibly and unlikely this month. So some men are seeming a lot more optimistic. The more, for me, informed journalists are saying Sesko is looking like a myth. Essentially, people. I'm not going to keep reading over the same things, but this is another journalist that said no club-to-club discussions have taken part. He's got 14 goals in all comps so far this season, and we could do with that. We have been, apparently Benjamin White is closing in on a return back to first team action. We hope Lewis Skelly and everybody else who's injured at the moment gets fit. Apparently, Lookman is attracting interest from Juventus ahead of the summer. Another one that Atalanta could probably have to be moved on. Agent exams to be taken from home. You know, I'd love to get my agent course. Cost 500 quid though. It's cost an arm and a leg, mate. So yeah, we've gone over that. What else we got? Zubimendi says yes to the club. I don't want to hear nothing about Zubimendi. To be honest, I'm tired of hearing about Cunha, Sesko, Zubimendi now. If we're signing them, sign them. If we're not signing them, it is where it is. I'm not here for any of this now, man. As much as I like making content with you lot, it's the same old. But on that note, though, people, we've definitely been recording longer than I thought we would. Let me know your thoughts on everything. Don't forget to check out the rest of the other vids.